So what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the JevMan316 Pop Culture Reporter channel. I'm your host as always, JevMan316, and we're going to do a little Shudder movie review. I've got a screener that I watched a couple weeks back, and sorry Shudder, I'm a little bit behind. It's actually on the service now, the streaming service. It's a movie called Sissy. I really liked it, and I want to do a little quickie review. And quickie review, I'm going to try to give you the synopsis and my opinion of the movie in 5 minutes or less, because hey, who doesn't like a quickie? So let's talk about Sissy. Let's go. So I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'll give you the brief synopsis of this movie in case you've never heard of it, because I hadn't heard it until they sent me the screener of it. Teen best friends Cecilia and Emma, after a decade, run into each other. Cecilia is invited on Emma's bachelorette weekend, where she gets stuck in a remote cabin with her high school bully with a taste for revenge. And I'll go ahead and tell you the cast. There's several actors in this outside of the main core three, but there's three main actresses that make up a bulk of the plot, and that's the main three I'm going to mention. There's Aisha D. She plays Cecilia, which is the title character. She was known as Sissy when she was a child. She goes by Cecilia now when she as an adult. Hannah Barlow plays Emma, Sissy's best friend. Hannah Barlow also worked with Kane Sensei. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Sorry. They wrote and directed the film. So not only did she star in it, she helped write and direct it. And then the third main character is named Alex, and she's played by, that character is played by an actress named Emily De Margheriti. I think that's how you pronounce her name. So that core group of three make up the story. And there's other side characters in there that basically are like fodder and normal horror movie fodder. They're kind of interesting. I like all the characters in this. And I'll really tell you, I thought this movie, once it started a little slow, but once it got going, it was really good. And for a Shudder movie, you know, these things are kind of low budget. It looks excellent. The color palette's great. The cinematography's great. And the acting between those three actresses is top notch. I really think it's good. This is an awesome example of how a good movie can still be made with a low budget. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and tell you, the three of those characters were quote-unquote friends when they were younger. Well, Cecilia, as she's known now, was known as Sissy when she was a child. And Sissy and Emma were best friends. They were inseparable. At least that's what Sissy thought, until along comes Alex, the third wheel. Alex doesn't like Sissy, and she picks on her a lot. And Emma allows it to happen, is what Sissy thinks. And so that leads to some tension, that leads to a very traumatic event between the three. And I'm not going to spoil what happens because it's really key to the plot of the movie. But so those three end up in a cabin together. Now, I will say that's the one thing in the movie that I didn't think was realistic. When Emma runs into Cecilia for the first time after years, she invites her to her bachelorette party. That kind of is realistic. But knowing that the third person in that traumatic event is Alex, and that Alex was the one who was hosting the bachelorette party, I don't think Emma, after all those years, would have put her close friend when she was younger in that. And I don't think she would have wanted to chance ruining her bachelorette weekend. I just don't know that that's very realistic. But at least it is a realistic example of how a group of people could get away and be together for a weekend. And not have like their male counterparts with them. Let's just say that. So that part of it's realistic. But during the passing of years, Sissy has rebranded herself as Cecilia. She's going by her, I guess, her birth name instead of just her nickname of Sissy. She's become more of a self-help guru. She does social media influencing and tries to help people like find their center, be peaceful with themselves, love themselves for who they are. To me, she became that person as a way to cope with what happened to her during that traumatic event. And so I don't want to spoil too much of the plot, but let's just say that when they get there, there's a confrontation between Alex and Sissy. And once that happens, they do try to agree to be friends so they don't ruin Emma's bachelorette weekend, but things go off the rails quick. And you start to realize that maybe what you think happened in the traumatic event, and that with Alex being the bully, may not exactly be how things played out, and that some of it was the way that Sissy, now Cecilia, had it in her mind as being the victim and how it played out to her. So that's not what everybody thinks of her, let's just say. So I don't want to ruin it, but like I said, she herself also has the added pressure of having all these hundreds of thousands of social media followers who look towards her for every, word she says to be a positive influence on their life. So she doesn't want to ruin that as well. So she's got a lot of pressure on her. So once they get there and things go off the rails, I'm not going to tell you how it happens, but when it does, this movie gets very interesting. The final act of this movie is worth the price of admission, if you ask me. There's some really, when kills start happening in this, there's at least 2 really very gory deaths in this that I was surprised at the practical effects that they used and how effective they were in a movie like this with this type of low budget. Because like I said, I know it's a Shudder movie, or at least it's a movie they're showing it. It's straight to video. It wasn't at the theater. This movie couldn't have had a big budget. So I really like the production value of this, and I like how the ending wasn't exactly how I thought it was going to play out. So it was a little bit of a twist to it, and I like that. And it doesn't have a standard Hollywood ending, and that's even more enjoyable to me because I like things different. I've watched so many movies. Look at all these movies back here. I usually can predict what's going to happen, and I didn't know exactly how this movie was going to end, which is another plus. So I'm not going to give this an on fire rating, but I'm definitely giving it 2 enthusiastic thumbs up. I think you should watch it. If you've got Shudder, you should watch Sissy. And if you don't have Shudder, I recommend you get it because they got a lot of great content there. And I love it so much, I may start doing some monthly videos where I give you guys recommendations of what to watch. So with that, I'm going to just close it out. And like I said, very enthusiastic thumbs up. Comment down below if you've seen it, and let me know what you thought of it. And if you haven't seen it, what other movies are you watching on Shudder? Get some conversation started in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the normal YouTube stuff. You keep watching my videos, and I'll keep making them for you. And until next time, boys and girls, this is JeffMan316, your pop culture reporter, signing out saying you guys be safe out there.